Hello friends, happy Monday. Welcome back. Today we are going to be doing a huge transformation from this to this. Amazing. This is my client Hannah. We have not done any blonding for a long time. We've done brunette, we've done copper, we've done everything on her. And you can see all that dark underneath we are going to tackle today. So first I am prepping her with water and then my K18 mist. That water, as I've talked about before, helps open up the cuticle so that the K18 mist can better penetrate into the hair. And then I just spray it onto everything that I'm going to be lightening, and it has to sit for 4 minutes before it is fully activated, and then I'll just blow dry it in like I'm doing here. So I am going to get her hair into 4 sections. This is going to be, it's going to seem like a lot, but it's actually a pretty quick way to move through the head. But we are going to be doing Teasylights. So I took a small diagonal section. I did not do any weaving on this first one. I just took it out and teased it. And it's about like a little less than an inch thick, I would say, the section. And I am just really saturating here with my board, and then I am closing it up with my foils. And as you can see, like I've said before, when it is a really long piece of dark like that, I do not like to fold it because you can get lines and creases. So I like to keep it straight, and I would rather just lay another flat foil down versus folding it up. I feel like it processes a lot better. But look at all that dark. We are going to tackle it. It's literally been over a year since we've done any lightening underneath. So it was time for a full. I think that is such a misconception also about having highlights and fun color hair or vibrant hair, lightened hair, any kind of hair like that, is that you need to constantly be doing it. But in reality, you can see here, we have not done that bottom, like I said, in over a year, and it still looked great when it was down. I just do about a partial every like 4 months or so, and then a full highlight is like once a year. So if you are using that placement to your advantage and you are cautious of what you're doing and why you're doing it, you're going to have a beautiful grow out, and then you don't have to lighten that hair all the time. But I am just going to continue taking these nice diagonal sections. I'm weaving, as you can see, and then I am teasing it and coming in with my coup board. So the ones at the very bottom, I did not weave them, but then obviously, as you can see, as I make my way up, I'm weaving so that we get lots of dimension because we want it to be highlighted and dimensional and beautiful. Now I'm doing the same thing on the other side, taking those diagonal sections. And then once I move to the back, I made kind of like a little diagram so you can see what my sections are. So you'll see that when we get there, but I'm basically just taking those 2 sections on each side of the head, taking those diagonal pieces, weaving and then teasing all the way up the head. Now, eventually, when I get to the top of the head, I'm going to have this little triangle where the 2 sections connect, and that's when I'll start taking horizontal sections, and you'll be able to see that. But first we are working our way through all of these diagonal sections, and you can see how much I'm saturating each one of those. I have talked about it before, and I'll talk about it again till I'm blue in the face. Especially with dark, coarse hair like this, saturation is key. That's another reason I love my board, because I feel like it really helps me get all the saturation that I need, because there's nothing worse than opening a foil and it's not evenly lifted. So saturate until you think there's enough and then add some more. So now we are moving to that little triangle. So I'm going to start taking those horizontal sections, and this right here, diagonal, diagonal, diagonal up the head, and then those horizontal. So you can kind of see those lines are like how my sectioning is through the back. So here is my horizontal section that I have weaved and teased. Nice and beautiful. Get those baby hairs out of the way, and then we are just lightening all of that dark. Perfect. So you will do this with that last remainder of the section in that little triangle space, so they'll get a little wider each time as you make your way up. But this is going to give us that perfect shatter over the top of the head. Look at that beautiful section. Also, I think I did forget to mention, I am using Danger Jones Lightener. I started out with a 10 volume, and then every time I made a new bowl, as I made my way through her head, I raised the developer. So I did a 10 and then a 15, and then I finished on 20s. But you see my beautiful little weave section. That is going to give us the most gorgeous highlight shattering over the back of her crown. And teasing all those baby hairs. Beautiful. Now the teasing is really going to give us that like almost lived in look, and it's not going to be that straight to the scalp old school highlight. I honestly love teases. I feel like I almost always throw some kind of a tease in somewhere, but they're just so beautiful. So there is the back of our head. So now we are moving to the front. And I am going to section out a rather large area in the front. And this is all going to technically be her face frame, this entire section. And going up to the other side and doing the same thing here. So all of this is her face frame. And you can see I have it on both sides, creating another little triangle. Beautiful. So all of that is what's going to pop underneath her fringe, her money pieces. All of that is going to be really nice and bright and close together. So first I'm going to take this little section nice and diagonal, tease it, get all those little baby hairs out of the way. Beautiful. Love it. I like to make sure they're really off the foil. And then I come in with my lightener. And once again, I am really saturating. And because this one's small, I'm going to fold it up. Plus, we don't want any slipping right next to her face. But once again, I'm going to take another little diagonal section, and you can see how thin that is. Now I'm going to start weaving. Take that little weave. Tease, and be careful when you tease right here because the hair on the hairline is always really short and you don't want to take it all out of your section. So kind of focus more toward the ear when you are teasing out that hair, and look at how pretty that weave is. And I'm getting right there up to the hairline, but trying to stay off my tease. And I'm just coloring the dark hair with the lightener and trying to avoid anything that's already been lightened. That one's a little longer, so I'm gonna lay my foil down and take our next section. You can see here how fine these hairs are when it's really close to the hairline. Get all those baby hairs up. Look how many there are. Beautiful. So all of this is going to be really close together, like not weaving out much hair. I'm just going straight in because I want all of this to be really, really bright. Now, when I go in for the triangles on top that I sectioned out, those are going to be thicker weaves, bigger pieces, and it's not going to be as close together as these because these are going to be really bright, and then the ones that are in that triangle are going to match the pattern that we were doing in the back of the head more, because this is where we really want it to pop. And you can see how nice and saturated, and closing it up. I'm gonna get our last final sections here on her face frame. It's so crazy to me how much dark there is because I feel like every time we do a partial, I'm like, oh, it looks so great. We don't even have to do anything. And then when I finally get in for the full, I'm like, oh my gosh, there is literally a foot of dark here. All right, so now we've moved to that top piece that was right there on her forehead. And I am just taking really, really tiny baby slices and lightening everything. So I'm going to do another one, super, super tiny slice. And I'm going to have a few of these back to back because this is her fringe and I want it to be really bright. And so does she, not just me. But we are going to do, again, no weaving, no teasing, just 3 super small slices back to back right there. And that will be like her main POW fringe face frame. Now we're gonna come over to this side and do the same thing. I realized my V was a little too thick, so I am adding this piece over to my triangle on top. And it is so, so important to keep your sections clean. I cannot stress that enough. But we are going to follow the exact same pattern on this side. I'm going to take that first little section diagonal, tease it, and paint all of that dark hair. Fold it up. So super simple. I'm just taking those diagonal sections through. And then you could kind of see on the other side, even though it's diagonal, I'm kind of moving it a little more horizontal each time that I go up the head. So it kind of curves like it would on a clock if it was going like backwards. And I am just going to weave here, do my nice little tease, get all those little baby hairs out of the way. I really love doing this because as you can see, all those baby hairs, they are new growth. So they are all little short, dark, healthy hairs. And then that way, when I comb everything out, they will be falling over and it's really going to create that really soft lived-in look to it. Taking another weave here. And we are almost through our face frame. But you can see just how nice and thin I'm making these sections because I want that super bright in the front. Really close together, not leaving out much hair. Just my little teases there. And then that's a nice little trick to hold the comb in the tease. I love doing that. Just tease it up, stick it in there. Then you can fold it up and grab your comb when you're done. Although sometimes I'll stick my comb into the tease and then I am looking for my comb to fold up my foil and I'm like, where did I put my comb? And it's literally in the tease. So mom brain. But I am taking my last sections here and you can see how it's a little more horizontal than those first ones, but they still have that nice diagonal. And same thing as we did on the other side, I am taking those really, really fine slices. I'm not weaving out any hair because we are right on her fringe hairline area. So I am just going to lighten all of this, hold that hair nice and tight, and then paint all the way to the root. Fold it up. And I'm going to be doing the same thing on this side as I did on the other one. All of those are going to be back-to-back foils because I want it really bright on her fringe. No weaving, no teasing, just super tiny baby slices and super good saturation. I switched my color brushes also because I wanted to just have a really nice clean application because it's such a baby section. So feel free to switch brushes if you need to. I always have different brushes for different things depending on what I'm doing. Another little baby slice. And we are going to saturate, saturate, saturate. No weaving, no teasing, no nothing. This is all just slices and light end. Perfect. And now for the very last one, I'm going to do a little weave and a foil. Beautiful. Now for our final part, we are going to be taking those last triangle sections that were on the top. And like I said, those will be more like the hair that we teasy lighted in the back of the head. So we've got our first section. It's got a slight diagonal to it. I am going to take nice big weaves. I'm going to tease it, pull in my board, and color that dark. We are almost through this entire head, you guys. Taking another nice big diagonal section. Weaving out my beautiful pieces. Teasing all those baby hairs out of the way. And then you can see that beautiful perfect section. And you can see also how it's a little bit like smaller weaves toward the front of her face, and then it got a little bigger as it went to the back. That's going to give me that really nice gradient effect also. We are just going to keep on taking these slightly diagonal sections. It's like a kind of a toss-up between horizontal and diagonal, but like the other ones, I'm going a little more horizontal with every section. So it definitely starts out more diagonal and then it kind of curves to more horizontal as I make my way up. And each section is just going to be a really nice thick weave, teasing it down and then foiling it up. But you can already see how beautiful these highlights are going to be. Just every time I take a gorgeous weave like that, oh, it's so satisfying. Look at how pretty. And just going to paint this on. Just a couple more sections over here, going all the way to the scalp. Now, sometimes people paint onto their teases. I personally don't like painting into my tease. I feel like that's why I have it teased away. But if you like painting into your tease and you've had good experiences with it, be my guest, keep doing your thing. I definitely know people who do that. I personally don't like to paint into my tease. So I try to stay as far away from it as possible. But that is why it is pushed completely off my foil. And of course, I did my favorite thing where I stand in front of the camera. But when you get through a entire full highlight like this, by the time you get to the very end, it's like the last thing that I'm thinking about is, okay, am I standing in front of the camera? But you can see our final sections. I'm doing the exact same thing over here where I took our final triangle and I am doing my nice big weaves and then my tease. Started with a diagonal section, and then as I made my way up, once again, I'm going to more horizontal until I get to the final section, which I think this is. Is this the final one? I believe it is. There is our finished product. I used like 3 different kinds of foils. So now this is my favorite part. After I finish, I go through and start pulling the foils. So I'm wearing my bleach blender gloves. I'll open it up and check it, make sure it's where I want it to be. And then using my bleach blender gloves, I just start pulling off that lightener. And then it also helps like pull the teases out. So after I do that, I'll get my brush and brush it through and get all of those teases out so that it's kind of already ready to go by the time we get to the wash bowl. And also then the foils aren't sitting in there forever and over processing, because I don't even need her to be platinum. We're just doing copper and she lifts really nicely. So she was already getting to that platinum point. So it was time to pull. And I'm just brushing out those teases. See how easy they come out. Beautiful. And I am just taking all that lightener off, blending it out with my gloves. And then I'm pulling it through her ends also because she wanted to go a little brighter than she had last time. So as I'm pulling this lightener out, it's also hitting those ends, which is going to help brighten it up for me for the color that we want to do this time. And just making my way through. I don't think I need to show too much of this. It's pretty self-explanatory, but I like to go through, especially on the hairline. That hair lifts really quickly, and just start pulling those foils, hitting it through the ends, making sure that everything is nice and lifted and beautiful. You can see how blonde she gets so quick. And just taking all that lightener down. Same thing on the other side. I cannot stress enough how important it is to check hairlines also, because anything that's close to the face is going to lighten so fast. All right, so here she is, freshly shampooed, and I did the K18 leave-in mask, and now we are going in with our first round of toners. So I like to do a toner first on colors like this because I know it's going to come out really even, especially because we have a really bright blonde where all her new highlights are, and then it's more coppery brownish toward the ends. So I am using Danger Jones gloss toners in 6-46 and 8-46 with -44, which is an orange color booster. There's a lot of that orange color booster in there. So this one is super easy. I am just going to work it through and pour it all through her head using my squirt bottle. It works through the hair so easily, so I don't even need to take like little baby sections. And this is just kind of like our pre-tone. Honestly, these colors are so vibrant that we could just do this, but we wanted to do a little something extra. So we are going to be doing this pre-tone with the gloss toners, and then we are going to be doing some vibrant semi-permanent over on top of that. But I am just saturating and then using my brush to really comb that color through. And then it's only going to have to sit for like 10 minutes and she'll be done to wash out. So I'm just squirting that all over. It smells so good too. I cannot tell you. Look at how easy that color just brushes through. I love it. Get the last of it out. And now while she's processing, I am mixing up my semi-permanent colors. So once again, I'm using Danger Jones. This is Burnout, which is the orange. And another round of Burnout there. I'm also adding some Hotwire, which is a neon orange. Making a big old bowl because she's got a lot of hair. Then I added some Starrider. That is like a marigold yellow, and I just love the tone of it. And then just a little squirt of Diablo, which is red. And just going to mix that together. I also added in my B3 bond builder inside of it that helps with strength and longevity. This is after we washed out the Danger Jones toner. Oh, so vibrant and beautiful already. I did another round of the K18 mask here, brushed it through, and then I just like to do a quick blast dry. You don't have to get it like completely dry because it's already been colored. So this is just gonna give us a little extra oomph with that color. And I am just going to put all of that Danger Jones semi-permanent color through her hair. Now, there isn't like a you have to be sectioning this way kind of a thing for this, because semi-permanent color is basically colored conditioner. So as long as you are saturating and you're not missing any spots, you really can't mess this up. Just make sure that your sections aren't too big and that you are getting everything that has any kind of lightener, any kind of highlighting, that you're hitting it all. So like here, my section was a little thick, so I'm cutting it in half and then just coming in toward the root and making sure everything has that color on there. And I know you've seen these brushes in my videos before if you've watched my other videos, but I love these brushes for color because one end has the brush and then the other end has the comb, so you can really comb through everything without having to pick up two different tools. And we're back to the front. Oh, she's so cute. I love her. This color looks so good on her. I mean, every color we've ever done looks amazing on her because she's beautiful and adorable. But I absolutely love her in coppers and reds. Always looks so gorgeous. And here we go. And this is after our ice cold rinse. I can't wait to show you this beautiful color, but I am using my K18 volumizing spray first. Then I come in with my Leaf and Flower 7-minute blowout and frizz remedy spray. Those help speed up dry time and also reduces frizz in the hair, which is amazing. And then I just blow dry all of that in. All right, this is already a pretty long video, so I won't bore you with a long blow dry, but oh, look at how cute she is. I love it. And get ready for our after. Oh, so gorgeous. Look at that dimensional highlight throughout. It's gonna grow out so gorgeous, so vibrant. Absolutely obsessed with it. And then we'll make our way around the front and you can see her vibrant face frame. So cute. I'm obsessed. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with me for another video. Please like and subscribe, leave me a comment, let me know what you'd like to see next, and I will see you next Monday. Bye.